What does it really take to help do healthy aging the right way? Women, let's forget the coffee, let's forget the tea. Let's get into what really works for healthy aging because supplements are a big deal, especially right now because of longevity issues. And so many people are trying to push these supplements on us. So let's talk about the facts and fiction. If you're here live, so happy to have you on here. I'm Judy Seeger, naturopath of 30 years and now in my 60s, and I've had two holistic clinics, and I love teaching you guys what actually works because I'm doing it for myself, and I want you to come in here so I could answer your questions directly. If you're not here, that's okay too. I am going to answer all your questions. I check daily all your comments and make sure that I could give you whatever I know to help you. We're all in this together, right? We're a community. And speaking about that, my Forever Young Women's Club, I'm trying to move the needle to help all of us to be in the same like-minded group. That's starting up February 15th. Link is below in the description box. Okay, so let's get into, I also like to talk about three things I'm learning, things that could help you, things that are the latest and greatest in science that I'm finding because I research every day. And today is no exception because supplements are so confusing. And I get brand deals coming at me literally every day. And I'm very, very picky. Those of you who know me, follow me on TikTok or other places. It is definitely, oh, hey, Darlene is in here. Welcome, welcome. Um, it's crazy how these supplement companies have garbage in their stuff. And so let's break that down. And then I'm going to tell you a few other things that will actually help you. So this particular company, actually not going to tell you at right now because that's not the most important. The most important is how do you pick the right one? Right. So Darlene has been with me, is an awesome person down there in Houston, Texas. She's listening in her car. Awesome. Thank you so much for listening, Darlene. A true fan. Love, love, love having you on here. So here, I wonder if you could talk and ask your questions while you're talking. That'd be interesting. Okay. So here's the thing. And I have done this literally for 30 years as a naturopath, first getting into herbs, then I get into enzymes, then I mix herbs and enzymes for supplements. I don't really like supplements because there's just so many things wrong with it that is actually now showing to damage us as women. And I'm going to get into that. First off, this particular supplement company came in front of me, and I did a lot of research. I talked to them. I'm like, who are you? What are you about? Let me see your stuff, right? So of course they send me stuff, and that's fine. And then I test it, right? So I look to see a few things. First off, this is really just a little bit on the side note. This particular supplement company has a totally different kind of packaging I have yet to see. I have not seen this before. If you have, let me know. But it is like a recycled, can you guys see that? Recycled material that slides up. Check that out. And then they have a little message here as well, right? So I thought that was so interesting. What we believe in the power of plants, and we craft recipes that will change your life. And I really believe that after I read the story about the company owner. But here it's recycled material. So that's very cool. And it slides up, and then there's your herbs, right? That's pretty nifty. I like that whole concept. It's very cool. Although I noticed that when I'm picking it up, you have to kind of be careful because it does slide, but that's okay. You know, I don't mind. I'd rather have this in a plastic bottle any day because, of course, plastic disrupts our hormones. And if we're always surrounded by plastic, that's a whole nother issue. So that's one thing, right? I like the container and all the packaging on this. So this is for any supplement. We're doing an overview, and then I'll go into why I particularly like this one. Those of you who follow me, like Darlene, and Nancy's in the house. Awesome to have you. Yeah, I only recommend 5 different supplements. That's it. And we could go into the category of that. That's not a problem. But here's the thing is that when you get any supplements, specifically we're talking about herbal supplements. Why do I like herbal supplements? They're natural, right? They're typically natural. They're like having a little mini salad. And we know salads are okay if we could digest them, but there's nutrients in this vegetable world and herbs, especially when you know how to use them correctly, which is very exciting. So here's the thing. When you look at an herbal capsule, it should have a squishy factor. I need to market that. We herbs have to have a squishy factor. I don't know where I came up with that, but that's just a Friday for you. So, what does that mean? When a lot of times, and this is behind the scenes story, because I used to tour manufacturing herbal companies, vitamin supplement companies who are trying to get me to sell their stuff. Again, I'm very, very particular about who I work with and very skeptical about a lot of this stuff because I think they just laugh all the way to the bank trying to sell us as women, and I don't think it's right. So I check everything out. And one of the things I learned that when I don't know if you could see that, but there's actually powder coming off of that. But it's squishy factor, meaning it's the herb hasn't been sitting on the shelf for a long time because when it does, that's when it gets stale and hard. And then it's very difficult to digest. So here you're spending money on something and then you're not digesting it. I actually saw this in my first clinic in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where a client came in, and I'm not a radiologist. I don't claim to be. She said, "You know what? My chiropractor took a picture of my back, and I wanted you to take a look." I said, "I don't really know much about it, but let me just see what's going on." And what was so interesting is I saw these little, literally in her stomach, her small intestine specifically. These is a choo-choo train of little capsules in her small intestine. And I said to her, Linda, I'll never forget her. Linda, what is that? Looked at it. I said, it's so clear. Like there's like five of these, all in her small intestine. And I said, what is that? And she said, I don't know. And I was like, do you take vitamins? She said, I only take one. Guess which one she took? A multivitamin called Centrum. And it was just there it was. It was just a little choo-choo train in her small intestine. Was she digesting that? Oh, hell to the no. I could guarantee you she wasn't digesting it. And she had a lot of health problems when she came in. So understand that vitamins that are in a coating, it's called enteric coating, they often use shellac on the outside, especially from multivitamin. They say it's a food grade shellac. And I remember going to a manufacturer and I asked them specifically, I said, what is this shellac that you guys are putting on your vitamins? And they said, oh, it's a food grade. I said, isn't the same thing that they use to put on gymnasium floors and whatever? Oh, no, that's the chemical version. This is a natural version. I said, yeah, but how do you break that down? No answer there, right? Yeah, I did not endorse that company. I could tell you that. So, what I like about these kind of capsules, it's a gelatin capsule, right? So that gelatin capsule is something that is easy to break down and digest. If you put this in water, which I used to do, I used to put all vitamins in the water and I'd keep them in my clinic and show everybody and say, look, this multivitamin doesn't break down. So does it in water? How is it going to break down in your body? And they were like, huh, well, maybe I don't need multivitamins. I'm like, yeah, not that one. So be aware that that gelatin capsule is a good thing. The squishy factor is another good thing. Here's another cool thing is when you open it, like even I could do this just all day long. If I open this and you smell the herbs that are in here, it should have oh, that smells like herbs. That smells like so this particular one is sea moss and bladderwrack. So it's from the ocean, it's sea moss and has a very oceany smell, and it's very, very strong actually. And I'm very surprised how fresh it smells. I don't typically smell it like that. So that is impressive as well. It should have a smell. If it doesn't have a smell, what are you getting? You're getting maybe an extract of a vitamin. And how do you know you need that? Is there a test? Is there a test for what supplements you need exactly? There are some, like for example, vitamin D and that, but not much. There's really not in my world, in the holistic wellness world, that really tests what supplements we need. And there certainly isn't in the medical world. There's just, it might, that's not true. I just had a client tell me she needed vitamin B. She was low on vitamin B, B12 specifically. And so I told her, yeah, go get your vitamin B liquid supplements, and you're fine. So the point is how many supplements do you really need to cover all your bases? Yeah, who am I talking to out there? Right? How many do you need? So let's just talk about it because I'm new on YouTube. I've been on TikTok, but TikTok is definitely going to, they're talking about banning it again. And Facebook and Instagram has put me in their jail so many times, I've given up. So I'm here on YouTube. So those of you who are new and those of you who have been following me know that there are 5 supplement categories that you need to have. So number 1 is for your immune system. Always make sure that your immune system is up to par. What can you have? Your natural vitamin C. If you have questions about what type of vitamin C, there's 10 different kinds. Ascorbic acid is the most synthetic version and not one that I recommend. I think it's hard to break down again, but if you have vitamin C in its natural form, meaning it's liposomal vitamin C or it's calcium sorbate or the camu is a very natural form of vitamin C. There's many other ones, and have that if you choose vitamin C. Some people want to have other forms of immune supplements like zinc or the vitamin A, C, D, all that. That's fine, but that category is you only need one, right? Because ultimately your immune system needs a lot more than just one supplement or 10 supplements or 20 supplements, right? So when you choose your vitamin for the immune system, make sure that it doesn't have any fillers. So again, the reason I like this particular company is it has no fillers. It should be just what you're buying. If you're putting down $30 for a bottle of supplements, you should be getting that particular supplement and not all the fillers. And they'll always say, oh, we had to use magnesium stearate and silica and titanium dioxide to make it, so it holds together and sticks together. Well, yeah, if it's synthetic, if it's natural and you put in a gel cap, you're good to go, dude. And it usually is the dudes who do that. So understand that there should be no fillers. It should be just straight up, right? Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, number 1 is immune system. Number 2 is understand that you need something for minerals. So typically I recommend magnesium, right? Because as women, our our heart muscle, and unfortunately we're catching up to the men with heart issues and heart attacks and whatnot. And so it's very, very important to make sure that the muscle of your heart gets what it needs. And the number 1 thing it actually needs is magnesium. And so if you have a bathtub and you love to take baths, you could take Epsom salt baths on the nightly, which actually does 2 things. It gets the magnesium into your system and relaxes you and says, hey, heart, we're here for you too. And everybody's happy. And it also helps you to sweat and get rid of excess toxins. But not everybody has bathtubs, I found out. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Not everybody has bathtubs anymore. I mean, you could do a foot soak, I guess. But you need 1 to 2 cups of Epsom salts in the bath, soak for 30 minutes, and then get out and relax. You could do a foot bath and use 1 cup of Epsom salt, and that's fine. So that's a very simple form of magnesium. Again, there's many, many different kinds of magnesium glycinate, magnesium chelated. There's just many different forms. Pick the one that's right for you. Those of you guys who will be in my Forever Young Women's Club, we'll get into those details. Like, what do you need exactly? Let's talk about it. I get very personalized and customized about that. Okay, so the immune system, minerals. Now, I do the 5 supplements, right? And I do magnesium, but because I'm testing this particular product out, which is again sea moss and bladderwrack, and it has minerals, I said, okay, let me push aside the magnesium supplement I was taking and let me just take this. And there's no need to add things. It's better to have 5 supplement categories and then get rid of the excess. Here's the other issue you need to be aware of, ladies, is if you take too many supplements, it actually causes a disruption, or I should say that your liver gets overworked and overpaid. And then it starts messing with your hormones. Ladies, we do not need our hormones to be messed with anymore. We have had enough. We had cramps during our period. We had perimenopause. Then there was menopause. It's like, okay, we're done. We're totally done. No more. We don't need it anymore. So it's super important that you take care of the hormone producing glands and that your liver is happy. And when you put too much on your liver, the hormones start getting cranky, and then everybody, all your hormone producing glands, I call them everybody, there's 8 of them, start doing the dipsy doodle, right? So you have to be careful putting too much toxins, too much supplements, it's just too much. It's just too much. Nancy has a question. I make my own camo capsules. Oh, see, there, bingo. So Nancy and I go way back from our homeschooling our children days, and we used to make everything. She made the first kombucha I ever tasted 30 years ago. That was fun. And being from Wisconsin as we are, that you learn to make things. So you can, of course, make things. And if you enjoy that kind of thing, making tinctures, making teas, yeah, absolutely. Hey, here's one thing, Nancy, I have for you. This is for you, Nancy. If you are taking camo, and I learned this myself 10 years ago, and then working with clients. If you are taking the camo, but you still bruise easily, or you're starting to see bruising on your legs, that can be a sign that your vitamin C is not getting absorbed. And that was my first wake up call. I was bruising all the time and I wasn't bumping into things. I'm not that clumsy. And I was like, what the heck is going on? So if you don't have any bruising, you're okay. But do understand that vitamin C helps the integrity of the cell wall. And when the integrity goes down, especially as we age, then we start getting bruising. That's like a sign to us, right? So let me know below if you have any bruising. That would be interesting. So then you could do one of two things. You could increase your camo, or you start saying, camo, I might have to switch it up, right? Don't ever be like, oh, I'm going to take camo for the rest of my life, or I'm going to take this one for the rest of my life. Look at the categories, right? Because things come up. Okay, no bruising. Excellent. So you're good to go, Nance. So look at the categories, right? So immune system, minerals, right? Okay. So next one is the category that we're making sure that you're taking care of is your hormones, right? So vitamin D and vitamin K, super mellow out for your hormones. Women are complaining all over the internet, like, I'm going wonky with my hormones. You could take progesterone cream. Wild yam is a natural herb. You could take that as a cream. I love transdermal. I've been taking it for 30 years now, and no side, but it's only 20 milligrams. For some reason, doctors think you need to have 200 milligrams. I think that's way too much. Personally, that's a lot, but maybe some women need it and they do fine with it. I like to go slow and steady. So I do 20 milligrams and that's it, right? So a nice wild yam cream. Dr. Anna Kabeka recommends also adding pregnenolone to it. I do like that, DHEA. Look into it. See, again, those are things we get into the Forever Young Women's Club, where we're like, okay, what is pregnenolone and how do you really know you need it? And what about like we kind of get into all that and the testing and all that. But just understand, do something for your hormones on the regular. One of the other things that's great for it is protein, which is your fourth category. Make sure, ladies, your protein levels are up on the high side. It has been a learning curve for me this year or last year to increase my protein. I thought I was having enough, and I was very sore after my workouts. And I don't work out super, super hard, but it was like I was paying the price. Now I go, I do my 10-mile bike ride. I feel fine, no stiffness, no soreness. So make sure you do the formula. And the best one who could explain all that for you is Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She did a YouTube episode, which is stellar, on the science of protein. And she gets into every aspect of protein, like how much do you need and when do you need and what is the right formula. And I went deep into it and took lots of notes, and I follow that. So I'm 137 now, 137 pounds, and I'm 5'7", and I'm supposed to have about 80 to 100 grams of protein. And it's very hard for me to get that much in because I don't eat that much. So that's when right before this live, I went and had a protein smoothie and I'm good to go. Right. So you could add protein. We could talk about the whey and vegan proteins if you'd like, but understand that as women, as we're aging, our muscle mass goes down, our strength, our mobility, everything starts to go again. Nancy, her name was Dr. Rhonda Patrick. Dr. Rhonda Patrick, and she's on YouTube. I don't remember the name of her YouTube channel, but she's literally all over. And it's called the specific episode is the science of protein. It's really what I quote all these women that I follow now because their science, you can't argue with it. You know, they've done studies on thousands and thousands of women. They're in the trenches clinically and they're doing their homework and they're doing it just on women. So Nancy's husband, Bill, yeah, he needs more protein. Put down that big old piece of steak for him. He's good to go. But you don't need quite so much, but you need quality protein. And the way to do that is to have digestive enzyme, which is what are we on the fourth category that we need for supplement? Okay, so let's talk about digestive enzymes. So the challenge as women, as we're getting older, the truth of the matter is, and I've had nutritionists come at me, they says it doesn't matter. And I'm like, hell to the yes, it sure does matter that your digestive system metabolism slows down, way down. We're already slower than men. We just have a slower metabolism. So it's super, super important that we digest our proteins, our fats, and carbohydrates. I have a very hard time digesting fats. I really have to be careful that when I have my fats, I'm doing something. So typically what I do is having a glass of water. So this is actually about a cup worth, 8 ounces. And then you add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and I sip that either before I eat or after I eat, especially if it's like avocado, like I love guacamole. I love avocado smoothies with my protein shake, whatever. And I have the apple cider vinegar and that really makes a difference. And it's cheap and it's easy. You can take digestive enzymes. There's some really excellent ones online now, and then take those two capsules 30 minutes before you eat, or two capsules 30 minutes after. Right? Doesn't matter. Just make sure that you're taking them if you're having a hard time digesting. And another sign is if you have gas, bloating, constipation. For sure, you have issues, and if you have a belly pooch. I now could say I have a flat belly, which is kind of cool. Never had it in my 20s and 30s because I could never digest anything. Now I have a flat belly. I'm like, I don't wear a bikini, but it sure feels good having a flat belly. And if I get gassy, it's usually because I've had a vegetable that I have a hard time digesting, or I may have had a little bit too much olive oil or butter or something like that with the fats. But that's about it. It's very controllable. So make sure you're doing something for your digestive system on the regular. Okay. And that way, that no matter whether you're having your proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, that you're getting the nutrients into your system the way you need to. See, the problem with supplements and foods and all this stuff is you think that it goes into your body and then you absorb it. And it's so not true. The fact of the matter is when you understand human physiology is it's very, very hard to get what we put in our mouth all the way down into our stomach, get it broken down by all the stomach acids, which of course are not as strong as they used to be, and then break it down all the way to your small intestine and out it's a process, and the older we get, the harder it seems to be. So it's time to look at the whole big picture of everything that's going on with that. Okay, so as we're talking about the supplements, if you guys got any more questions on that, and especially those of you who are watching this afterwards, do put your questions down below. I'll make sure I'll take care of you. So just to now show you, this is the company I chose that I really, really like. This is it's called Alkaline Herb Shop. I have a 10% discount code. So if you guys would like to try it out, especially for those with low thyroid. Ladies, if you have high hyperthyroid, it's not for you. If you have low thyroid, this is for you, right? My thyroid, I notice is that, especially now in my 60s, I'm starting to see like I have to be like paying attention a little bit more to it. So I that's why I tested this one first. And it specifically has it's only got sea moss and bladderwrack, right? Which is very high in iodine. And iodine is such a good supplement to have, but I have found it hard to get it in a natural form. And then they sent this sea moss and bladderwrack. I was ecstatic, I'll tell you. So I've been on this for almost a couple of weeks, and I really noticed the mood has leveled out. The hair, I don't have a problem with. If you have hair, nail, teeth issues, skin issues, right? So that wasn't my issue, but I definitely noticed the mood thing was like, okay, this is like leveling out even more. I really, really like it. So this is the company, 10% discount below. And what I really like about it to share with you guys, this has got 200 capsules, 200. And it's like super reasonable. It's like, yeah, compared to some of these other herbs. I just saw David Beckham, the soccer star, he's getting into the longevity supplement industry. And his first bottle of whatever multivitamin, it's $79. What are you made out of gold? You don't need our money. And so yeah, just skip all that stuff. Just go. So this woman who created this, she was an attorney for 10 years and high stress, as you can imagine. And her health started to go down the hill. She started getting high anxiety, couldn't sleep. And so she changed her lifestyle, found out about herbs, and then started making her own formula. See, I like that. It's run by a woman who understands us, and she's been in the trenches and fixed herself and now is helping other women. I just like everything about that. That's a really nice thing. And no fillers, just pure. Anyways, 10% discount below. Just check it out. Okay. Let's see what other questions we have. Darlene says, I've got a good recipe for avocado sour. What? Okay, so Darlene has a good recipe for avocado, sauerkraut, and feta. Blue Zone recipe for fats and protein. Oh, please do send it, Darlene. I'll put it in our email and send it out. So that's awesome. Darlene has been through my detox masterclass and she is stellar. She's got like all these things going on and now she's got a recipe to share. Definitely send it along. So those of you who are subscribed to the channel, awesome. If you're not, subscribe. And then you will also get in on the newsletter and all the events coming up. There's so many fun things coming up. I'm super excited. This is the year, ladies. I want you to stop wasting thousands and thousands of dollars a year on supplements and really looking at the big picture of what it takes for healthy aging. It's not that hard. If you brush your teeth every day, take a shower, wash dishes, you could do this. A few things here and there. We're going to get into that in just a minute. I'm just answering questions here. Would it, okay, so Darlene, yeah, would it interact with your thyroid medication? So I've always asked that. Of course, ask your doctor. You know, disclaimer, I'm not a medical doctor, but I've always seen it as it's an herb, it's a plant. So are there certain foods that interact with medication? Yes, there is, like grapefruit, for example, with wafer, right? I mean, there are certain ones, right? But as far as I know, sea moss and bladderwrack, it's seaweed, and I have not heard any contraindications, but always decide for yourself and take a look at it, and see what it is. But I see that's why I've always liked herbs because there's the least amount of contraindication with medication. Okay. All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, so exercise snacks, very, very important. I love snacking, and I have decided no more snacking because the weight was fine, but I wasn't feeling really comfortable. I wanted to drop my 5 pounds, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be traveling. I need to do 5 pounds. And I noticed I was stacking. I love popcorn, chips and dip. Remember my guacamole thing, right? So what I've learned, and I went back to that habit, which I've been teaching actually for years, is don't eat, but in a window. So Dr. Stacy Sims, SIMS, Dr. Stacy Sims has recommended have your protein first thing in the morning. Actually, many of them do. I'm just throwing another name out there for you to look at. So Dr. Stacy Sims, I've been following her for quite some time. She was on a TEDx talks called Women Are Not Small Men because there's so much research done on men, but not on women. And so she said, eat your protein first thing in the morning and within 1 to 2 hours of waking up. So I wake up at 5 a.m. By 6 or 7, I'm having my protein breakfast. So that could be like a nut and seed granola, That could be, I make a lot of, muffins and banana bread with protein in it and all kinds of yummy stuff with nut butter and all that kind of stuff, but having it 1 or 2, right? But then I go from 7 in the morning and then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. So 3 o'clock would be my last meal. So have your window. Have your protein within 1 or 2 hours when you wake up, and then have your window of 8 hours. Now, I just heard a nutritionist say 10 hours, but she's a mother of 2 kids and she's running around doing all kinds of stuff. Plus, she's still working full time. I'm like, listen, I did the 10-hour thing and I was putting on weight again earlier last year. And I was like, no, I can't do that. So stick to your 8 hour window. And this is what I'm seeing works in general with women. And then making sure that you're not eating 3 hours before bed, right? So I stop at 3 and I'm done and I'm fine and I'm good for all the way the next day, right? And then here's the thing about the exercise snacks. So when I got in the snacky mode, my little popcorn and chip thing, I had a hard time stopping. It was like, oh, taking a break. Let's go have some chips and guacamole. And I'm like, no, 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 can't do that. Let's switch it up. So I learned about exercise snacking, where instead I walk through the house and I do my arm exercises. I'm doing my bands. I'm doing my 10 squats. I do something that is pushing me for movement that's also building my strength. So it's a double win, right? So that means instead of reaching for the snack, you go and do 10 squats. Why is squats so important? Because Dr. Stacy Sims says the more you build up your quadriceps, the more oxygen you get into your brain, and that helps your brain health. See, you don't need another supplement. You need to do more squats. And so when I first started last year, I had to hold on to the edge of the sink, and my knee was still recovering from my accident. And so I was like going down really slowly, doing a mini squat and then getting up. And I felt quite proud of myself that I could do 5. I am now up to 20 and I'm not holding on to nothing. So it was kind of cool. So exercise snacks like that. And then the balancing exercises. Well, what do I mean by that? It's super important to keep our mobility as we age. The what do they say? 1 out of 4 now who fall down break bones because of osteoporosis. Like it's crazy. Like it's crazy high how osteoporosis is getting to be such a big deal. So when you're brushing your teeth, I've figured this out. When I'm brushing my teeth, I stand on 1 foot. So 2 minutes. So 1 minute on 1 foot, 1 minute on the other foot. When I'm waiting on a call for some client to get on, I'm doing my balancing. I will go one. And in the beginning, I couldn't do that either. Last year, I started this and I couldn't do it. I was like, "Oh, are you kidding? Like, why can't I do this?" I felt really clumsy. I've always had good balance. Anyway, so I started doing that. Little exercise snacks throughout the day. Now, my buddy here, Darlene, she moves all day long, which I know she's like buzzing here, buzzing there, buzzing here. But here's my encouragement to you, Darlene, is making sure that as you're moving, do something for either your strength, right? That would be like a squat or whatever. Making sure you're doing something for your mobility, right? That could be like balancing and that. And then making sure you're doing something for your core. So that could be just doing stand up and just or sitting in your chair and doing something where you're stretching your core muscles. Doesn't have to be laying on the floor every time. So when I first started, I was fighting it. I did not like doing this at all. But I don't like going to the gym either. So I decided I'm going to do every hour. Dr. Rhonda Patrick said, do it every 45 minutes. Girls, listen. I did that for 3 days. I was exhausted. I was like, oh my God, this is a lot of work. But she says if you do it every 45 minutes, you actually can lower your glucose levels and actually help. I know some of you are concerned about that, your A1C. I was like, what? Not that I have that problem, but I'm always thinking about you guys. So I was like, oh, every 45 minutes, you got to do this kind of exercise. Oh, okay. That was very interesting. Yeah, yoga 3 days a week with boot camp teacher. She's brutal, right? So yeah, that's awesome. It's just those are like workouts for because that's what I used to do. I used to go to the gym and I used to do that. But here's what the up level on that, Darlene, is to do those type of exercises throughout your typical day at home. So I know you run and you're doing dishes and you're vacuuming and all that, and that's cool. But just incorporate a little bit more of the strength, mobile, or core at home on the daily. That's why they call snack exercises, right? Or exercise snacks, just little things. So I now start so I did it once or twice in the morning and once or twice in the afternoon. Then I started doing it more. Now I'm up to like 3 times in the morning and 3 times. And I do not do 40 every 45 minutes. It's just not me. I don't know if I'll get there, but I'm right now at 3 times in the morning. I do an exercise snack where I'm walking through my house and doing these things that focus specifically on strength, mobility, and core, right? Okay. So I have oh, that was what I said I was going to learn and what I was going to do. Okay, cool. So I think I covered all my bases. Thank you guys for being on here. Appreciate you, Darlene and Nancy, for being on here. I will be back on Sunday at 5 o'clock. I will continue to do these lives on here until we see how it goes. That people really do want it. If not, we'll go to Plan B. It's not a problem. But in the meantime, do look at this company, Alkaline Herb Shop, and let me know if you have questions about it or if you think it's something that you're like, yeah, you know what? I think I want to try something like that. And then get your 10% discount on that. Okay. And I really want to know the feedback always when I'm working with a company. I seeing the difference, but of course it depends on you. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, we'll keep in touch about what actually happens as you're incorporating all these little tidbits on healthy aging. Have a great day.